System, The Film Review, Friday at 5:45 on the BBC News Channel.
Tonight at 10, Theresa May offers a stark Brexit choice to MPs. It will be her deal or no deal at all. The Prime Minister says it's the government's duty to make a success of Brexit, even if there is no formal deal at the end of negotiations.
We'll get a good deal. We'll bring that back from the from the EU negotiations and put that to Parliament. I think that the alternative to that will be not having a deal.
But Mrs May's critics have again piled into her plan agreed at Chequers, saying it's not the outcome people voted for.
You're not really fulfilling the mandate of the people, and you're not really coming out of the EU, and that would be a real shame, and I think a bit of a political disaster.
The latest warnings were not limited to the Prime Minister's opponents. They also include the International Monetary Fund. The IMF's warned that the UK economy will be damaged by any Brexit, especially a no-deal Brexit, and the Chancellor has urged people to listen.
We must heed the clear warnings of the IMF and others of the significant cost that not reaching a deal with the EU will have for British jobs and British prosperity.
Also today, the MP who tried to save the life of a police officer after the Westminster Bridge attack has spoken at the inquests. A special report from the small Palestinian village in the West Bank threatened with destruction by the Israeli authorities.
This is a very nasty scuffle, not lots of people involved, but it's very symbolic, and all this is important because it's about control of this land, not just now, but in the future.
And the President stands by his embattled nominee for the US Supreme Court, who's facing historic allegations of sexual assault.
And coming up on Sports Day on BBC News, 2 gold medals at the World Equestrian Championships. Ross Cantor makes it look easy as she takes the individual title and helps GB to team gold.
Good evening. With just over 6 months to go before the UK is due to leave the European Union, the Prime Minister has declared that MPs will be presented with a choice between her proposed Brexit deal or no deal at all. Theresa May spoke to BBC Panorama this evening, prompting her critics to speak out again, with the former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson renewing his attack on the deal agreed at Chequers this summer, saying that parts of it, in his view, were a constitutional abomination. John there on the immigration question and Brexit. We'll have more key Brexit questions this week, including the potential impact on the union of the 4 nations of the UK and the calculations over the economic impact potentially. That's coming up during the week ahead. That's it from me here on BBC One. It's time for the news where you are. Have a good night.
Hello and welcome to Sports Day. I'm Jeanette Kwachi.